Hello, good morning and welcome to Newsdesk. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 across all our social media handles. We are Joe News on TV. Coming up within the next 60 minutes, the business community in Ghana is demanding that President John Dramani Mahama create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Would engage the Ghana Union of Traders Association here on Newsdesk. Also coming up, conference of heads of assisted secondary schools worried about inadequate supply of food to senior high schools to enable academic work. We'll also spend some time with one of the new entrants in Parliament, Ohene Kwame Frimpong, ousted, and he ousted Andy Appiah-Kubi. My name is Faustina Safo. It's a good time to take a seat and please be my guest. Thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now we start with President John Dramani Mahama because he has officially begun his work as president today. The business community is asking him to formally ensure that he formulates policies that will create an enabling environment for them to function properly. Well, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, joins us for a quick chat here on Newsdesk. Thank you so much for your time. I want to start with your expectation of this government.
Hello?
Yes, Doc, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the president acknowledges our challenges, as he said yesterday in his maiden address to the nation. And for that matter, we believe that he is poised for action, to find solutions for these challenges that he is acknowledging. And that we believe that he is going to create the enabling environment that make business thrive. He also said that he is going to prioritize stability, and that's what we are expecting. But we have to stabilize the local currency, and then the other indicators that make business thrive, the exchange rate, the interest rate, and inflation. All these need to be positive for the growth of businesses. And having said that, we believe that he's going to do that. And he's not going to do that in isolation, as he said, because he is also calling on the business community to join him in his quest to stabilize the economy and find some growth for the businesses. And so these are our major expectations, especially the stability of the local currency is very important because it drives inflation, it drives interest rates, and then it also affects the capital of our businesses. So if we are able to stabilize the local currency, then of course most of our problems have been solved. You know, he's saying that he's going to usher Ghana into business again, and that foreign investors and local investors alike are going to do business as usual. And so if the indicators are right, that's what is going to attract us to do this business that he so seek. And then if we tie it to the 24-hour economy, it's a natural progression. If businesses grow, then it will also trickle down to the 24 hours, because if we enhance on productivity, if productivity increases, and that's where manufacturers can extend their times for manufacturing, where farmers can extend their time, where other businesses can also go into the night to affect the 24-hour economy. Then he also said that he's going to rationalize the tax system, which is very important. We have to streamline our tax system to make it very affordable and simplified. We have to make it simplified and affordable. If you're able to do that, then of course it's going to make the produce of our industries very competitive, because we do not have to overprice the produce of our industries, and that's why manufacturers cannot sell or compete in the with the neighboring countries. You see people going to Togo, Nigeria to buy the same things that have been produced here, because the cost of doing business here is very high. So rationalizing the tax system is very key. Is very, very key.
And
then,
I'd like to come in at this point, because since you've made mention of the tax system and also the 24-hour economy, as we look forward to the implementation of that key policy promise from John Dramani Mahama, I'm wondering, how are you whipping your members in line to ensure that they deliver when it comes to the 24-hour economy? Because we know that private businesses will be given incentives to ensure that they operate the 24-hour system. How is that working out for you and your members?
So you make all that we seek is to for the government to make business thrive by creating the enabling environment. That's what I've mentioned: inflation, interest rates, stabilizing the local currency, and then also rationalizing the tax system. If we do that, then you are ushering us into golden age of business, because that's what make business grow. And then access to credit. It's also very important. That's why...
Do I get a sense that you're trying to say that even before the implementation of the 24-hour economy, there are certain basics that government needs to get right before members actually embrace the policy? Is that what you're trying to say? Because you keep referring back to the basics. When I'm looking at how best your members can aid with the implementation of 24-hour policy, and if they're actually prepared for it.
Yeah, so all that 24-hour economy means is that there is so much productivity. Productivity is so much enhanced to the extent that we work into the night. That's all that it means.
Okay.
And so whatever thing that you do to create the enabling environment, and these are the things that I've already told you, if you're able to do it and do it well, so that we do not overtax us when at the beginning of production, but we have to tax us at the end of production. If you overtax us beginning of production, then you can tell the growth of businesses. You can tell the growth of productivity. You do not enhance productivity. So the wisest thing for us to do is to make sure that we are able to produce at an affordable pricing, and then the demand of it will make it that manufacturers will produce more, because they have the demand for their goods. And while they have the demand for their goods, it means that they have to employ more hands and create the shift system to produce. And that's all that it means. And so if we're able to do that, and then one thing that is also tied up to it is access to affordable credit. And we have to do everything to get people the credit that they need, because if you will grow in business, then you need a patient capital, you need a subsidized capital, where you can also use it to venture a new business, or even improve on your existing businesses. And so this one is very important. That's why the Women's Bank is very necessary, but it's also necessary that we think through the whole spectrum of the SME businesses, so that the entirety of the SME will be will have the finance, they have access to credit at affordable pricing. In this regard, one will ask how the government is going to get the resources to regenerate wealth for us, to give us this credit that we are talking about. I would suggest that if it is possible, government should not abolish the yield levy. And so we can use the proceeds from the yield levy to regenerate this wealth that I'm talking about, to grant access, to give access to the SME and the women, and that the president is so concerned about.
But in John Dramani Mahama's social contract with Ghanaians, he pledged that he would abolish the e-levy, among other key taxes, like the betting tax. You feel that he shouldn't at this point?
This is from it's my view, and I'm saying that it's my wish, because if we want money to give to the informal sector, to the SME, to the women, and all that, we should also think about how we should get this money. And so I've already said that we should rationalize taxes, so nobody should say that the Guta president is saying that we should not. But I'm saying that if there's one tax that I want it to be maintained, it should be the yield levy, because the yield levy is not being paid by only the businesses, it's being paid by all of us. And it's a fund that is a tax that has already been created and is ongoing. And so if you want to redirect it, because abolishing something that is already in progress and that people are already paying, and then redirecting it to more productive venture does not affect the government intended this thing. Because if the money is not being used to the benefit of the people, then people will talk about it. But if you say that you abolish it and then you redirect it to more useful purposes, people will go for it and support you, because people need startup capitals, people need venture capitals. We need these women. The women need support, and we need the resources.
And that's why the president, as part of his policies and his proposals, he says he'll be creating a women's development bank. But thank you so much, Dr. Joseph, for sharing your thoughts with us here on NewsDesk. Just giving us a sense of the expectations of the business community following the president's speech yesterday during his inauguration, assuring that he will provide an enabling environment for the business community. Now, away from that, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, they are demanding that government provide the needed funds to enable suppliers to give senior high schools the needed food supplements for smooth academic work. Chas had earlier warned the Ghana Education Service not to reopen schools due to some challenges, but GS still went ahead to reopen the schools, pledging that they would ensure that they address all the concerns raised by Chas. We engaged Chas 2 days back. Let's just get an update. Join me now is Primus Barrow. He actually speaks for Chas. He is their National Secretary. Thank you so much for your time here on NewsX. Give us updates as we speak. How many schools have all the needed supplies to feed their children?
So good morning, and thanks again for giving us the opportunity to update the nation, and for that matter, the parents, on the situation on our campuses. There is really nothing like any school in this country having all the needed items. There is only something like schools being given some quantities of food in varied quantities and in varied forms to manage the situation. As we talk, some schools, I must say, are a little bit okay, coming from different, premising that on for different reasons. Some already have some support from their PAs, augmented by what government has supplied. Others are still in very dire.
You mean PTAs rather?
PA.
Okay.
Parents Association.
Okay.
Parents Association.
Okay.
Yes. Others are still in very dire situations, even with the with the supply of some food items. Admittedly, some food items have reached out to almost every school in this country. But I'm saying dire because what is actually needed to run or to feed the students is still woefully inadequate. And I'll just give an example. My checks indicate that especially for schools that are found in the northern belt and some in the middle belt and south. They still lack, apart from rice, typically, if you take a place like Upper West, Upper East, if apart from rice, they do not have any other cereal. You can't talk about maize, you cannot talk about millet. So it is rice and nothing more. You go to what is used to make the soup. Some schools, for a long time, including my own school, don't have a single gallon of oil. So my matron, for example, will rely on things like margarine to do, and the margarine is finished. Next week, if I don't get margarine, there will be nothing to stand in for oil. So the situation is still, we are still not out of the blues, and the situation is not a uniform situation. Some are a bit okay, others are okay, and some are still in dire need. So that is how I can describe the situation as far as food is concerned.
We've been receiving reports from certain schools we've visited that some parents are hesitant to allow their children return to school because of the fear of lack of meals. So we wanted you to give us specifics. For example, the Greater Accra region, how many schools are we sure have enough supplies to feed the children so that parents know that they can at least send their children to school?
At a national level, we've been trying to collate the data. Unfortunately, sometimes, for whatever reason you cannot tell, our own members are not forthright in coming out with the issues. So that question, I will plead that you rely more on the information from the regional chairman, because they are actually the ones to supply national office with this. Unfortunately, because they equally don't have that cooperation from their members, they are not able to give us. So I'll not be able to stick my neck out now and be able to give you numbers. But I can just give you a general idea about what pertains, across the country generally. But what I can say is that for now, all schools in this country are in the position to be able to manage the situation. And the key word, the operational word there is manage.
And what manage here means what exactly?
You will just be able to provide something for the students. You'll be able to provide something that is available in your stores for the students. And like I gave an example of my school, I do not have anything apart from rice. So I'll be able to provide something rice, breakfast, lunch, and supper. And that is true for almost all the schools in Upper West and in Upper East. In some cases, they may have some other food supplements, other food items to supplement. So the situation generally is not too good. It is not up to our expected standards. And so I can only advise our parents, yes, parents can send their wards to school because there's now something to be provided for them. But then we will add strongly that as you send your ward to school, please add the attachments. You have to accompany with the gari, the normal shito, and the normal sugar, and any other thing that you can give to a child to live or to survive on while on campus, while we pray. As we talk now, this morning, we are still engaged with the Director General of Ghana Education Service. In the next couple of minutes or hours, we may write to him acknowledging the food and some monies that have been received, but also indicating to you that the situation is very critical. I will point out the very critical areas for the Director General of Education.
Can you share with me how much exactly has been received? Since in your letter to him you acknowledge that. Do you have the specific figure so we know how much is left?
Like I explained in my engagement with you the last time, there's always a difficulty in indicating how much is received because as I talk, I don't know how much. That check has not been given to me. Maybe it's my president who may be able to speak to that. Okay. I don't know the check value. But I know for sure that some monies have come in respect of payment of the arrears of recurrent that were requested for. Some have come in respect of perishables. And some monies have also gone to day schools. As we talk now, including my own school, it hasn't reflected in my bank. So I don't even know what quantum of money has come in respect of what. So we only hope that we are still collating, and I've seen some information on our national platform. We hope by the close of day tomorrow, we'll know at least exactly what has been catered for. And we may be able to tell which areas have not been catered for so far. But the quantum of money, we may not be able, as Charles to say, because like I said, Charles has never been involved for a long time now in the fee fixing structure. So we don't even know what goes in for what. So that is the situation we find ourselves in now. But some monies have come in that respect. But we're yet to know exactly what it covers and then we'll be able to analyze and indicate what has not been covered.
Thank you, Primus Barrow, for your time here on Newsdesk, just giving us updates on the actual situation in the schools. They say they are able to manage the situation. He used that word carefully. Oh, you're still watching Newsdesk. We're taking this quick breather. When we return, we have more for you. Please stay tuned in. Thanks for staying with us here on Newsdesk. Well, today I have a surprise for you in the studio. There's a man here, many call him the Giant Slayer, and I'll tell you why, because he actually kicked out one of the longest serving members of parliament from office. I'm talking about Andy Appiah-Kubi. He is an independent candidate and he is member of parliament for Asante Achim North. In the studio, I have with me somebody that has decided to do business with the governing NDC. He's popularly known as SALT. His name is Ohene Kwame from Pong, and he's my guest in the studio. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsdesk. Now, 26,000 plus votes in your constituency. Even Andy Appiah-Kubi got a little above 8,000. Even the NDC candidate got a little above 2,000. Did you anticipate that huge margin of win?
They didn't kind with the radiasis on my election. Now that is the surprise. Well, 26,000, okay. And it wasn't a surprise.
Okay.
Let me name say, Asante Achim North for the way na me co campaigner omo ye seni omo Jimmy and semo omo kano na me name say no krenie ye be din kunim na kunim die no ebe kese.
Okay.
Na enye shock kra.
Okay, so for some of our audience who do not understand, he promised me when he came on air that he has a surprise for us. So probably this is the surprise. He was speaking to us in our local dialect. He's just giving us a sense of what is happening in his mind and the victory he amassed for himself. He says, based on campaigns they had in the area, they anticipated that indeed they'll be winning the seat by that large margin. But then people said that you were very close to Andy Appiah-Kubi. Did you stab him in the back?
Oh, because I'm in closer. In what capacity na nipa na kasa I'm close? Ebia, on say me wo hono e wo abrabom de bia me ne obia nante pepepe.
Okay.
Sebi and Appiah-Kubi, former member of parliament, onye metamfo, no onye metamfo so da.
Okay.
And no ye MP. No be oye MP de. Me a businessman. Now a businessman now nimra she be dwani o mpotem. Se wanya wone na anya ayonkofa. Say business now you know bebre, especially when me wo business or constituency ho. Me a radio station e wo ho. E ho ye nimpotem.
So this one I would like to plead. My audience, they are sending us messages and I've just received some of them. They are appealing to you to please speak English.
Okay.
It's an appeal.
Okay, since it's an appeal, what I'll do probably 40% English and 60%
No,
Chi.
please do.
I'm also begging
80% English, 20%
No.
We beg.
No.
I can't keep doing translation. And I can see the messages. Please, we beg you.
Well,
we're going to speak English from now on.
Well, I will still do a bit of English for you.
Okay.
That's understandable. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Because of the platform.
Well, yes, I understand. But me buy and me catch her say me was surprised, mama.
People are trying, but surprised where they are not.
And this is what I'm going to plead on the floor of Parliament. Say, Omo mami akwanya se me nko bebi ya me kono. Me campaign man can bro for one day crowd. My campaigning now has always been tree.
Okay.
And inti say if I'm here, I know Joy is a very big platform. Exactly. You have your audience, which more campaign.
But they said after campaigns and election, no campaign again. So this is not a campaign.
I'm not campaigning.
I am begging you. Let's talk about Parliament.
We'll do a bit of English. It's fine. We'll do a bit of English.
A very large bit of English. So you didn't stab him in the back? That's a point.
No, not at all. Because like I said, I'm a businessman.
Okay.
He was the member of parliament. How would I be at loggerheads or not be in a very good relationship with him? Whereas I've got a business in that constituency. Okay. We've always been very, very nice. And even during his campaign in 2020, I donated a vehicle to support his campaign. And it wasn't just a vehicle. It was a vehicle fitted with a full equipment, sound equipment, which he used for his campaign. I supported his campaign.
Rumor has it that you were so close that he had promised he will not run for this election.
Well,
is that the case?
Well, yes, he's had that conversation with me before. He invited me to Parliament in his office at Job 600, where we sat, we did Komogakra, and then he told me, I mean, I wasn't in the company with him alone.
Okay.
On the Nadamfi, then
you want to tell us who this person is?
I don't know him.
Okay.
I don't know him. I don't know him at all. But he was a bit stout. He wasn't slim. He was a bit of a height as well, just like the MP. He was dark in complexion. He wasn't fair. These I remember, but I mean, kind of didn't know anything.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, didn't come on. No, can't say and this thing that we're saying is very open to a few other people in the constituency. No munim. Or several or second time we are on Kubiem and all that. At the end of the day, but then I prayed God Almighty, and I knew that the step I wanted to take, if I didn't seek, proper consultation, if I didn't, look at few other things to be sure of exactly what step I'm taking, it would backfire big time, because as I'm touching off, it's predominantly for a certain group of people on the political field, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, going as an independent candidate wasn't a joke. It wasn't going to be a walk in the park. But at the end of the day,
moving from the business community into Parliament, I'm sure it sets a new challenge for you. Do you have any mentor in Parliament that is helping you walk the journey?
Not really.
Okay.
However, if I say not really, I'm not saying no, not at all.
Okay.
And I said not really with a distance, right? And now that, by the grace of God Almighty, I am in Parliament, definitely there are a few people that I'll be consulting more, because I have to. At the end of the day, these people that I've got in mind, that I'm not going to mention their names on a national platform.
Why? Just
because they've not asked me to mention their name. So I will keep it to my chest, and I will definitely be liaising with them. I won't mention any name. You're entitled to mention any names you want, but it's not going to come from me.
Why did you decide to do business with the NDC?
Yeah, because they are the government in power. Now, during campaign, I was saying to my people that, look, and if it was an MPP, I would have worked with MPP.
But the constituency and the individuals whom you represent in Parliament, that seat has always been an MPP seat. Don't you think that your constituents will want you to lean towards a party that they've always supported?
It boils down to communication.
Okay.
I need to communicate with them and let them understand. One of the things that I need to let them understand is the fact that, as it stands now, Parliament, or with the standing orders of Parliament, if you want to form any caucus, if any group of people want to form a third force or a third caucus in Parliament, you need to be a number of 7 and above. However, the independent candidates, now at this moment, we are only 4. So we cannot form a third caucus. So whatever the case, we would have to say either left or right. Of course, with the right being the majority and the left being minority. See, there is no space for independent candidate. If there was any space for independent candidate, but there's no designated space beyond my independent for. And I either say ubeko benkum and I say ubeko nifa. You don't want my tree,
no,
but
please.
you want it.
Your constituents, they have high expectations of you. What would you want to be remembered for, and what are the key things you focus on as you assume your office for the next 4 years?
Right. I want to be remembered as the member of Parliament who pushed to speak his local dialect in Parliament or to his constituents. I want to be known as the member of Parliament who helped or supported a vast majority of the youth to be able to get employment. I want to be known as the member of Parliament who was able to continue some of the contracts or the works that his predecessors started that he couldn't complete. Because most often, people, I mean, certain MPs, they most often they don't continue things that their predecessors started. But I am going to do that. Whatever our member of parliament, our past immediate member of parliament, Lawyer Ndiapia, whatever he started that he didn't complete, I will make sure that that is completed for the betterment of our people.
Do you already have a list of the number of projects that?
Well, I've put them. I don't have it. I don't have it here with me. But yes, I do.
Okay.
I do have.
And that's what you'll be working with.
Well, I will be working with that, and then any new approach as well to make sure that there is enough factories within the constituencies for the youth to work. Because I'm a businessman, I've already got products on the market, which bullfruit puff puff, kokonte, plantain fufu, Tom Brown. All these products, like you know, are supposed to be produced from a factory. And so my plan and my initiative is to liaise with the private sector to set up factories within the constituency so that at least a chunk number of the youth omenya jumaye.
And that's one of the key concerns of your constituency, getting jobs. And so it's a good initiative you are putting forward. Apart from that, how about women and children? What's your plan for them?
Well, thank you. You see, we have a good number of women who, most of them are into trade. Okay. Now, aside trade, farming. No, farming takes the larger part of the community. Now, I will support especially our women who are into farming with a vast number of initiatives. Now, I won't put most of them out now, right? Because sometimes it's best that when you're doing certain things, you be a bit quiet with it. And then when it materializes, then you come out with it. So I won't put much of it out now. But yes, definitely, because even before being voted into power, I did a lot when it, with the school boys and girls within my community, especially the girls. I personally donated up to about 5 laptops to girls, to hardworking, brilliant kids brilliant but needy girls within the constituency. I did that. I facilitated the initiative of a quiz contest within the community where the winners, I asked them what they wanted, and they said they wanted to travel to Dubai for holidays, and eventually they got that. And so I will make sure that at least something goes properly for the youth within the constituency. If I say something in terms of education, health, these 2 major things.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very, very much.
One of the 4 independent candidates in Parliament. We're looking forward to your performance on the floor. Trust us, Joy News will be in Parliament. We know that sitting is starting at 12 p.m. But before I let you go, as an independent candidate, you must have spent a lot of money during your campaign. How much did it cost?
I will never tell you.
You won't tell us, so that we can also try and campaign as well. Well, he probably for my guest in the studio, and that's how we wrap up the conversation. He's heading to Parliament at 12 p.m. We know that Babing had served notice that they will be sitting today, so we're looking forward to that, how Parliament will be sitting today. The 9th Parliament officially starts its work today. You're still watching NewsDesk. We'll be back with business update. Please stay tuned in.
Welcome back to Business on NewsDesk. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. The Vice Chairman of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Clement Boateng, has urged banks and financial institutions to reschedule their financial obligations to traders at the Kantamanto market. He made the appeal during a donation ceremony to support the market's reconstruction effort.
Following the devastating fire outbreak that destroyed numerous businesses at the Kantamanto market in Accra, Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA has donated 40,000 Ghana cedis to aid reconstruction efforts. During the donation, GUTA's first vice chairman, Clement Boateng, appealed to financial institutions to consider easing the financial obligations of affected traders. He also called on the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to collaborate with Guta and allocate some of the monies collected from traders towards insurance packages to provide support during such crises.
I will also take this opportunity to appeal to the banks, because I know that there are a lot of people here who have taken some facilities from the bank. So I want to make an appeal to all the financial institutions that our members have taken facility from to please reschedule their facility arrangement so that the time that they are supposed to repay the facility will be extended for them to have a bit of respite. Having said that, I will again appeal to the district, metropolitan, and municipal assemblies to sit down with Guta and consider an amount that we are paying for the business operating permit. That amount should be set aside to sign on to an insurance package so that in times like this, our people will not be found wanting.
The Director of Communications for Guta, Joseph Paddy, echoed the call for government's involvement. He urged the government to partner with the private sector to establish a well-structured market system to enhance trading activities across the nation.
But all that we're telling government is that let government come and collaborate with the people, because over some period of years now, we have not had well-structured markets in the country. Almost all the markets we have are made by the indigenous, that's the customary market. You have only few local markets, like the Carnation one, like 31 market, few local markets. About 70% of our markets are customary markets. So this is the time government to collaborate with the private sector so that we can build more structured, well-structured markets for Ghanaians to trade.
Helen Nakai Ayes report read to you.
Now, away from that, oil marketing firm GWEL has maintained its dominance as the largest oil marketing company for the year 2024. This is despite recording some decline in product supply for the period. It is followed closely by Star Oil, according to the Petroleum volumes and analysis report by the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. There was more in the following report. According to the report, leading OMCs such as GWEL PLC and Star Oil maintained dominance, while new players like Sema Oil and Desert Oil demonstrated remarkable growth in market share, with volume increases exceeding 50 million litres in some cases. LPG usage grew by 6.61%, driven by household and industrial adoption, with increases in the northern and western regions. GWEL experienced an overall decrease in volume by negative 14.48% for January to October 2024 compared to 2023. Desert Oil experienced a significant overall increase in volume by 18.33% from January to October of 2024 compared to 2023. National consumption for January to October 2024 was 5,295 million litres, marking a notable 17.37% increase from the 4,511 million litres recorded in 2023. The analysis of petroleum volumes from January to October 2023 versus 2024 reveals transformative trends in Ghana's downstream petroleum sector, with significant implications for the nation's energy landscape. The overall consumption growth of 17.37% highlights increasing energy demands driven by economic and industrial activity. That's all for business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki. Standing by is Forsty for the rest of the bulletin. Forsty.
Thank you, Winston, for bringing us that update. Now, it's a good time to take you to Kwashman Cluster of Schools. My colleague Jacqueline Anzoye was there. She joins us live with more because today the school officially reopens after the fire incident. If you recall, the school was housing some ballot papers post the election. Jackie, what can you report?
Found out that they had to be moved away from the building to another building which is outside the school compound. Today is reopening. Today is 8th January 2025, and we came here to find out the situation on the ground. Currently, I'm here with some students to find out more. It's roughly around 10:36 a.m. in the morning, and I saw a few students here, but these ones were here, some of them with their backpacks. So we want to find out what actually is going on. Now, I see you with your backpack. Where are you going?
Please, I'm going home.
Why?
Please, because our school got burnt, so they told us to come to school over here, but today they said we'll close early, so that tomorrow they'll come and arrange how we'll go to school every day, because they said we run shifts.
So you run shifts in coming to school. So how will the shift run like?
Please, they haven't yet alert us, so later they'll tell us. After that, we'll come to school in that way or following.
All right, sure. Let me also speak to this young lady here. Now, you also with your school bag. Why? Because it's 10. I presume you're supposed to be in class by now, but why?
Please, we are going home because they sacked us. They said tomorrow we should come. Then they'll arrange us. Yes.
And how is that arrangement going to be like?
The CISO said 6 to 12. Like some will come 6 to 12 and the others will come 12 to 3.
Oh, okay.
Like then that way.
Which form are you in?
Please, Form 2.
Form 2. All right. And how are you affected by this? Considering the fact that this is the very first day that you came to school, how are you affected by this?
We are not affected by anyway because the building was not a building. We have another building here, so the building that burnt was for the Anglicans, and we had another building, so we are not affected by anyway.
But then you are still not in class. You are not in class because this place is now considered as a crime scene, so you are not in school now.
But when we came in the morning, we did morning lessons.
You learned today?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let me also speak to this young student here too. And when you came to school, what did you find out from your teachers?
So when we came, since we already know that the school is burnt, this place was restricted, so we were taken to the senior block behind me. So we had morning lessons. Then later we were informed that we will be running shift along with the juniors and the other schools. So then they told us that we should go home since the teachers are about to have a meeting. So then that's why we went, but we went to eat, so that's why we came. We are now going home.
Okay. Now, personally, are you affected by this in any way, considering the shift that your teachers are talking about? Because under normal circumstance, this would have been your school block. This is where you come for classes, but then it's closed, and now you have to use a different place where you run shift. Are you affected by this in any way?
Yeah, we are little affected because the time we used to learn, it has been decreased since we need to run shift with other classes. So that one, you see, maybe to slow down the syllabus we are about to learn, that's why I'm a little affected.
Okay, all right, sure. Well, we've heard the voices of some of these students right at Kwashman Cluster of Schools. And just as I said, today is reopening day. They came here earlier, according to what the students are saying. But then they've been asked to go home and come back the following day so that a shift system would be scheduled for them. And they come to the school in turns. But from here, I would want to speak to the education director of the Ablekuma North constituency to find out the exact arrangements they've put in place for this.
Now let me speak to presidential correspondent Maxwell Agwagwa at this time, because we told you during the AM show that the power sector players, they're having a crunch meeting this morning over what they prescribe could be a possible power crisis. Maxwell joins us live because he's been monitoring that meeting. Maxwell, what can you report?
Energy sector, in the market and finance energy sector were present. There is a great that needed to be addressed. First of all, government needed to be briefed, and then we needed to hear what exactly can be done in the circumstance. But in order that you have a full appreciation of what the issues are. I'm going to invite Mr. Frank Otri, who is the Director, Systems Operations of Gridco. So he will step forward and brief you, after which I'll come back to add some closing remarks. Thank you very much. Mr. Otri, the floor is yours. Thank you.
That runs from Nigeria and brings gas to Ghana. This, as they informed, is a critical maintenance after a certain number of hours and period of running to ensure the integrity of the pipeline. Now, this work requires that the pipeline, that the portion which sends gas to power plants in Tema will be shut down for the period. The period they need to do the maintenance is about 1 month. Now, because the gas that they supply to Tema plants in Tema is going to be shut down, it is needful that we get some liquid fuels for some of the plants in Tema to run so that we continue to have adequate supply even during the period of the pigging. What we came to inform the government is that yes, there are some liquid fuels, but it's not enough to cover for the period of the pigging. And so efforts have to be made to get enough volumes of the liquid fuel so that that critical maintenance can go on as planned. So this is what we came to inform the government. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll take it up from here. So what it is that that is precisely what has happened. Government has been briefed in order to address the situation, because we know that it is pretty urgent. A technical committee has been set up that has representatives from all the key players in the management of Ghana's energy sector, and they have up until the close of day today to put before government a roadmap on what exactly needs to be done and how it can be done. So you can rest assured that government is taking the matter seriously and will do what has to be done in order to avert any difficulty for the people of Ghana. It needs to be stressed that the pigging exercise, or if you like, the maintenance exercise on the pipeline, should have been carried out in October of last year. Government then, the MPP government, requested that they shift it to January 20th in order that they will have sufficient time to procure the alternative fuels, that is the liquid oils, to power the thermal plants within the period that gas will not be available. At least in about 2 national security briefings that the then president-elect held with the present government, he asked about the status of the procurement of oils, and he was given firm assurance by the then government that they had put mechanisms in place to resolve the situation, that there will not be the difficulty that we are talking about today. It does appear that that promise was not kept, and therefore the responsibility has shifted to the present government. But President Mahama is alive to the task, and adequate responses will be fashioned to address this particular concern. Thank you very much.
Do we get the feeling that WAPCO would be sticking to the timeline of the January 20th, or the deferral is what you made yesterday?
Well, various options are on the table, and as I indicated, there's a committee, a technical committee, with representation from all the key players in the energy value chain that will be meeting, and they have close of day today to present a roadmap. So all options that can be explored to, first of all, avert any difficulty and address the situation at hand will be put on the table, and government will make a decision based on what we receive.
Will Dumso be returned?
Well, I think that we need to wait for the work of the committee to know exactly what can be done. The idea is to ensure that we minimize any impact, as it were, of this particular situation.
Okay, so if anything I'm understanding, if there is any problem right now with regards to the power crisis, it would be because fuel that was supposed to be purchased earlier.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been in government for 1 day. I'm not sure that you can order and have fuel delivered to you in 1 day. Yes. So, as I indicated, this should have been done at least in October. Government then said that they needed up to January 20th to put their house in order and do the procurement of fuel. During the security briefings that President Mahama had, he asked specific questions regarding the status of implementation of that plan. He was giving firm assurance that everything was in order, only for us to discover, as of yesterday, that had not been done. And that is why, as a responsible government, we've taken up the mantle to ensure that we do the right things. So it has to be stated clearly that it was some dereliction of duty on the part of the outgoing government that has resulted in this situation. But we will take the steps that are necessary to address it.
Felix Kwache Ofosu there, just giving us updates on some of the key things that government is doing. One, they've set up a committee. They call it a technical committee. It includes all the key sectors, key players in the energy sector, I beg your pardon, and they have till close of day today to develop a roadmap for the sector as government moves in to forestall what they term as an impending crisis in the energy sector. Well, that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please log on to myjohnonline.com. Some key stories there. Mahama to hold emergency meeting with energy sector players over threat of doomsday. Now, that meeting, we just gave you updates that indeed they have set up a technical committee and they're supposed to give updates to government by close of day today. Government is expecting that they develop a roadmap for the sector. Well, that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please, myjohnonline.com is the right place to be. My name is Faustina Safo. Good morning.